About 80% of human infections affecting the gut, mouth, sex organs, lungs, heart, teeth, eyes, ears, and skin are caused by biofilm-associated microorganisms. Trying to heal chronic infections can be tricky because most people with chronic infections are likely to react to supplements, which is why such cases can take longer to resolve. Identifying infections can also be really tricky and often more frustrating and take longer to diagnose than the actual protocol to heal. Is it bacterial, fungal, parasitic, or viral? Biofilms make the equation more complex because even if someone took an antimicrobial that would kill their infection, biofilms can prevent this from happening. You guys are listening to the Digest This podcast, and I'm your host, Bethany Cameron, and today we are talking all about biofilms, what they are, and how to break them. Let's get right into the episode. Everyone asks me all the time on Instagram what probiotic pill I recommend, and I always say Seed. I've been getting it delivered monthly for about 2 years now, and for very good reason. It's really easy to take. I don't have to think about it, and I know it's actually working. There are 24 strains of specifically formulated probiotics targeted for digestive health, gut immunity, as well as additional systematic benefits. Seed's DS-01 capsule is a soil-based probiotic, which means you don't need to refrigerate it and makes it super convenient for traveling, in my personal opinion. And when traveling, that's typically when you need probiotics the most. Seed even provides you with a super chic glass travel bottle, so you will never be without it during these traveling months. Trust your gut with Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. Go to seed.com/digest and use code 25digest to get 25% off your first month. That's 25% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic at seed.com/digest and use code 25digest. Okay, so what are biofilms, first of all? So biofilm formation occurs when free-floating microorganisms attach themselves to a surface and create a colony. They secrete materials that provide a structural matrix that adheres to surfaces. Now, some scientists think that antibiotics can actually induce biofilm formation, and biofilms may be a reason why some people suddenly do worse for no apparent reason, because after biofilms grow, they disperse. They also might be a reason why people avoid herbal supplements. For example, if you take a supplement that breaks up biofilms, some of the bacteria that was trapped in the biofilm can be released, which can cause an immune reaction and make the person actually feel worse. And it typically makes a person quit any herbal supplement before they actually see progress due to the release of bacteria, which is actually part of the process when breaking down biofilms. Now, most biofilms are resistant to antibiotics, and because biofilms protect bacteria, infections, and are often most resistant, I would say, to traditional antimicrobial treatments, they make a serious health risk if you have them. So biofilm bacteria generally tolerate antibiotic treatment, and this is because antibiotics can't pass through the biofilm enough. So biofilms are also known to be involved in many chronic infections, such as a chronic wound, lung, ear, heart, and nose infections. And get this, you guys, in a study, there was 59% of the participants with chronic sinus infections, 59% of them were found to have a bacterial biofilm, whereas none of the controls, which were the people that didn't have a sinus infection, had the bacterial biofilm. The most common biofilm that you might be familiar with is the plaque in your teeth. And though many toothpaste and mouthwash claim they fight plaque, they also contain several other ingredients that can do more harm than good. They kill off even the good bacteria in our mouths, almost like antibiotics for our mouths, where they're just killing everything, even the good. And our digestion truly does start in our mouths. So if we are lacking the necessary enzymes we need from our mouth bacteria, that's just the start of a recipe for disaster. So it's really important to use a toothpaste and mouthwash that does not disrupt our oral microbiome. My husband and I, we use Bite toothpaste bits, and we've been using them for over 2 years now. They also have a mouthwash that's TSA approved and travel friendly. We both use their fluoride-free tablets, and they're not only non-toxic, but actually effective at fighting off the bad germs and even contain the natural ingredient hydroxyapatite, which has been shown to help remineralize our teeth enamel from the inside out. So if you want 20% off your first order of Bite toothpaste, just go to trybite.com/digest or use code DIGEST at checkout to claim this amazing deal and save some money. Again, just go to trybite.com/digest. Again, trybite.com/digest and use code DIGEST. Now, I want to talk about the current methods of treatment for biofilms. So presently, the most effective treatment for biofilm infection is to mechanically remove the infected area or body part. This is sometimes possible if the focus is a catheter, an implant, or an affected organ that is eligible for transplantation. Still not ideal, right? So far, the two main strategies for preventing or suppressing bacterial biofilm infections are: one, early aggressive antibiotic treatment before the biofilm is formed, or two, chronic suppressive antibiotic treatment when the biofilm is established if it cannot be removed physically. Now, bacteria eventually become tolerant to antibiotics and most other antimicrobial agents. So if you have a fungal or bacterial infection that's coated with a biofilm, one theory suggests that normal antibiotics and antifungals won't even kill the infection. If you have a bacterial infection that persists despite antibiotic therapy and you have a high level of pro-inflammatory cytokines, some scientists think this implies that you either have a biofilm or a non-bacterial infection. Now, let's talk about some biofilm disruptors. Let's get into the good news, okay? So, in order to form biofilms, bacteria need to communicate with each other. One way to disrupt this communication is to interrupt bacterial communication by quorum sensing, also known as QS. Scientists hypothesize that quorum sensing inhibitors interrupt bacterial communication signals, which prevent them from aggregating. Now, there are some biofilm disrupting foods, and these foods are, now get a pen and paper, jot this down, or save this episode so you can reference back to it later, because I'm going to give you a list here, okay? So biofilm disrupting foods, honey, olive oil, oleic acid, linoleic acid, that's omega-6, apple cider vinegar, propolis, especially candida biofilms, propolis, okay? Caprylic acid. Stevia is actually a biofilm disruptor, and you guys know I am not a fan of stevia because of the other side effects I talk about all the time on my Instagram. However, it could be useful in disrupting biofilms, and then, hopefully you're able to disrupt the biofilm if you are using stevia, and then get off using stevia from that point on. But again, there's other disruptors just besides stevia. Xylitol is another biofilm disruptor. I'm not a huge fan of xylitol, but for certain purposes, I'm for using it if you're trying to get rid of a bacterial infection or virus or something like that. Garlic, that's also a biofilm disruptor. Ginger and cranberries. Now, here are some non-herbal biofilm disruptors, like different types of therapy. So there's ozone therapy, There is EDTA. So EDTA is likely exerts antimicrobial activity by chelating magnesium and calcium, minerals necessary for growth and membrane stability, and may also display anti-biofilm activity by reducing biofilm material production and or enhancing the detachment of bacterial cells from the biofilm. Magnesium, calcium, iron, zinc, and manganese appear to stabilize the biofilm matrix of a variety of organisms by enhancing structural integrity through electrostatic interactions that serve to cross-link the matrix. Okay, I know that's a lot here, but I also just want to point out some herbal supplements that can also be biofilm disruptors. So L-reuteri, calcium citrate, as well as magnesium citrate. So 2 types of citrates there. Zinc, iron, manganese, colloidal silver, curcumin, that's another one, cinnamon, berberine, ginkgo, boswellia, black cumin seed oil. Hey there, I'm all about that one. Oregano oil is another one. So there's lots of different types of biofilm disruptors. Again, you can even just go on Google and just look up biofilm disruptors and see what is out there. And obviously do what works for you. If you're sensitive to garlic, for example, then that probably won't be something you would want to integrate to disrupt your biofilm, right? So kind of pick and choose. Again, I just want to highlight propolis again, candida biofilms, huge. There's a lot of studies to show the benefits of propolis. Now, I just want to mention too, if you do think you have an infection, it's important to urgently speak to a doctor to get an adequate diagnosis and treatment. You may try some of these strategies that I spoke about, but again, you and your doctor must determine the best treatment for you and maybe discuss these natural treatments with your doctor and see what they think if you are on good terms with them and they're willing to work with you in that way. But please note that none of these strategies should ever be done in place of what your doctor recommends or prescribes. Now, I hope this Monday's Bite of Knowledge piqued your interest in biofilms, and I always encourage you to do your own research and look into it more because maybe biofilms are something that you need to break because you feel like you've just been trying all of the things and nothing is working. You could have maybe a strong biofilm. So again, look into it. Thanks again for listening. Share this episode with one person you think would benefit, and I'll see you guys this Wednesday. Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Resonant Media production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Mike Frey. To email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first.